here that you were in charge of, that they put you here.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting. When did you get married and things like that, and how did family?
I got married in '83. In fact, our I think 37th anniversary is coming up this month, the 27th. Thanks. And had kids the following year. Started having kids the following year. Worked for Farmer Brothers. It was a great job. I had a job that probably 90% of all the adult males in this city would love to have had.
Yeah.
Good money, company car and benefits. A lot of people would say, why would you leave that? Well, basically, I just wasn't happy.
Yeah. And how do you think that's a huge role? I mean, because I think there's also, you hear a lot of people who are, I mean, they're finding themselves and things like that. And I think there's some room for that when people are young before they have families. But when do you feel like that is like, and how did your wife respond when you're like, hey, I'm doing this instead and all that? I mean, what is the mindset there?
Well, of course, she knew how unhappy I was, and she supported me, pretty much. We first started researching franchises, and we looked into the UPS store, and you wouldn't believe the franchises that you can buy into, some of which pretty cheap, for about $39.95 and signed on the dotted line, and
right.
You're a franchise owner or a franchisee.
Yeah, I've looked into it. There's some pitfalls there too as well.
Oh, absolutely there are. But anyway, we bought into an Instant Imprints franchise originally. And I guess for the first year, kind of rocked along. It was, for that first year or two, there were a lot of times I drove home thinking, wow, have I ever gone from the pan to the fire? Sometimes I still think that, but
sure.
It's for different reasons. Back then, it was just because the training, which lasted for 2 weeks in San Diego, was so poor. If we'd had any idea how ill-prepared we were to open this business, we probably would have ran.
Yeah.
But, of course, we couldn't. At that time, we were in
You put money in.
For about $200,000
yeah.
and had an SBA loan to pay off, and that's a story in itself.
What is that? What is the pressure? I mean, without people having started business, I mean, I wish that every single person could be a business owner in the sense that they understood like the behind the scenes, the pressure they feel, especially with employees, or you have a family and all these different things that you're balancing. I mean, it's not a 40-hour work week.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
And really, that people talk about the freedom, but I didn't typically, you don't experience freedom. If you're lucky, you experience after a couple of years some form of freedom.
Maybe.
Yeah. And now, exactly.
I don't know if it happens that soon or not. I wonder if I had more freedom, 2 years after we opened than I do now.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have built a pretty solid business.
Mm-hmm.
We stay extremely busy, even in the, every business has its seasonality. Excuse me, but we stay extremely busy pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a Dateline-driven business.